It finally came. The Minnesota Vikings have announced that they have finally, and I know this is kind of ironic after I literally just said that the Raiders need to be patient with how they, sign their or hire their general manager. And now the Vikings have finally hired their general manager. And I was impatient. I'm not going to lie. They have named Kwesi Adofo-Mensah as their general manager. And I've got some very preliminary thoughts on this. First of all, that first name is going to be tough for future videos. Excuse me. Kwesi Adofo-Mensah. Well, a little bit of background on Mr. Mensah. Has spent his time. This is going to be his 10th year in the NFL. Has spent time with a couple of other NFL teams, including most recently with the Browns, who in his particular role, he was the vice president of football operations for the Cleveland Browns. And, he obviously helped Mr. Barry out there, Andrew Barry, for the Browns out with a lot of major decisions and personnel decisions and strategy decisions, and also a lot with the roster. So you really like where the Cleveland Browns, if you just take that for what it is, for what he's done with the Cleveland Browns specifically, it's impressive. I mean, the Browns are stacked, just from top to bottom. They are in every way. They're set as a team. Their offensive line is great. I think that could be a huge thing that Kwesi could look to bring to the Vikings. Obviously, they've got some tools there. Christian Darrisaw at left tackle, Ezra Cleveland at left guard. Center is kind of I don't know. We'll see what happens there. Right guard, I still think they can play Wyatt Davis, and obviously they've got Brian O'Neill, who just made his first Pro Bowl, so some great things happening there. But before that, he was with the 49ers. This was where it kind of gets a little tricky. He was with the 49ers Football Research and Development. He was there for a couple of years and got promoted to the manager of Football Research and Development, and then finally the director there a year later. So did help them go to the Super Bowl, helped them grab all that talent to get them there. And, he's a guy that when you take a look at his resume, he was on Wall Street. That's another thing, too. Former, I believe he got his undergraduate at Princeton and then got his graduate's degree at Stanford. So a lot of great things coming from Mensah here. A very, very smart and impressive resume here. And it looks like, I'm clearly not qualified to give this guy an interview, but a guy that got a degree in economics, and just honestly seems to make a lot of, from what I'm hearing, analytical decisions, which I think is big. And if you guys watch the movie Moneyball, like I did this last summer, this excites me because the Vikings needed a change at so many different levels, whether it was quarterback, general manager, head coach, but they needed a change. Like, they needed to get away from where they were going. I mean, the way it was, I think a couple of different players, like guys like Eric Kendricks, Brian O'Neill even came out and said that, the culture there wasn't right with the Vikings. I believe this is the right pick. I know that from what I had seen, Poles had also accepted a job with the Bears. And I think, I think it's one of those things where you could look at this and say, okay, yes, is this a position where they had to get the best player or get the best GM that they had at the time? But, when Ryan Poles made that decision to go to the Bears, I think it made me realize that, I feel like Kwesi was maybe the first choice after all. Like, that was why they had two of them. And maybe this kind of helped the Vikings make this decision after Poles accepted the job. But overall, I think that the Vikings wanted to go in a different direction. Like you could see, again, with the way this franchise was heading, there was just needed to be some kind of a change. And I think a guy like Kwesi here could make a lot of different changes to the organizations that could be good because his track record speaks for itself. Could be a lot of great things that happen here, and I fully believe that he can make a lot of good things happen for the Vikings. With the personnel decisions he made with the Browns, I think this could be very good for the Vikings, especially for if you just look at the totality of that roster, just A to Z, there is talent at every level, and obviously Kwesi played a big role in that. I'm going to keep calling him I'm gonna call him Cam because I'm not gonna try to pronounce that name. But I believe this was the right choice for the Vikings. They needed to go in a different direction. They wanted to go in a different direction in terms of culture, in terms of how they were going to run their football team. And I think Kwesi Adofo-Mensah is the latest example of that. And I'm excited. I think he's going to bring a lot to the organization. I think he's going to bring a lot of outside of the box thinking. And I think there's a lot of decisions that are going to be made that we're going to see a very different Minnesota Vikings squad moving forward. But let us know what you guys think. Make sure you guys like and subscribe down below. Leave a like and a comment. It helps people find the show. We really appreciate all the support that we've gotten and continue to get. You guys are all truthfully awesome, and we love every single one of you. Check out our website at thesportsbriefpodcast.com. Also in the description down below, you'll find all of our social media platforms, so give us a like and a follow there. Also, give us a listen and sub on iTunes. And finally, if you have anything else you'd like us to cover, send us an email at thesportsbp@yahoo.com or put it in the comment section down below, and we would love to cover it. But let us know what you guys think about the Vikings making the right pick at general manager with Kwesi Adofo-Mensah. Lord help me say that name.